Dr. Cheyenne Bryant not being able to show us her credentials and proof of her PhDs is only part of the problem. The internet created that problem. Don't believe me? I have the receipts. My name is Yasmin. Go ahead and follow this page. I am about to break something down. Of course, by now you have heard of Dr. Cheyenne Bryant and her lack of proof regarding the PhDs she is supposedly to have. And we are going to get into that in just a minute. But I want to tell you about the real problem here. This is a problem that the internet created. The internet created something called aesthetic expertise. Let me explain to you what that is. Historically, authority came from institutions, universities, licensing boards, peer review, hospitals, professional associations, and published research. But then authority with social media changed to something that was more visual and more emotional. Confidence, attractiveness, virality, perceived intelligence, emotional certainty, relatability, and production quality. We went from credentialed authority to performed authority. A person who speaks well, dresses well, uses therapy language, appears emotionally intelligent, and confidently labels themselves doctor can become more trusted online than a clinical therapist with 15 years of actual experience and actual credentials. This is particularly amplified by algorithms because platforms reward certainty, emotional intensity, simplification, and identity resonance. The internet doesn't verify expertise well at all. It verifies engagement. Pretty privilege and the halo effect is also something that is important to this particular case. Cheyenne Bryant is arguably a very attractive woman. There's a well-documented psychological phenomenon called the halo effect. People unconsciously assign intelligence, honesty, morality, and competence to attractive individuals. Research repeatedly shows that attractive people are often perceived as more trustworthy, forgiven more easily, challenged less aggressively, and assumed to be more competent. For women online, this means less barriers to your success. In fact, attractiveness can function as a shield against scrutiny and become a branding accelerator. You have pretty privilege, you can use some therapy, a language, and you're well on your way because the appearance of expertise becomes socially sufficient for many audiences. What hurt me most about this particular story is that Black folks already distrust therapy in the Black community already. So when we find someone we want to believe in, and then we realize they aren't really credentialed, it's pissing people off, present company included. But Black people have long-standing reasons to distrust medical institutions. We have segregation in healthcare, discriminatory psychiatric diagnoses, coercive treatment histories, underdiagnosis and misdiagnosis, the Tuskegee syphilis study, racial bias in pain treatment, and broader systemic inequities. You may remember some of these mental health phrases in a Black household. Pray about it. Keep family business inside the house. Therapy is for white people. Or just be strong. So what happened online? What is going on? A new class of Black internet personalities emerged who translated psychology into culturally familiar language. And actually, that part was beneficial in many, many ways. People wanted culturally recognizable voices, emotionally validating conversations, and therapists who understood the Black experience. The problem is social media started blurring distinctions between licensed clinician, self-help speaker, influencer, life coach, spiritual advisor, and entertainer. And once these categories started getting collapsed together, audiences often stopped asking, is this person qualified? and started saying, do they sound emotionally true? And this is a problem. I want you guys to listen to this particular clip of what Cheyenne Bryant said about her credentials.
I'm going to clear it up once on here. I'm not doing it again. And I'm clearing it up for my doc squad, for my fan base, for my audience who deserve to hear me address it. For the folks who have already made up their mind to not like me or not understand me, listen, I don't give a fuck what your narrative is. I would like for you to recreate it, double down on it, and run that shit, because I don't give a fuck about it.
I have an issue with it sounding so dismissive. In professional culture, credentialing and verifying your credentials is a normal process. Doctors, lawyers, psychologists, social workers, counselors, and professors, and even me, your neighborhood sociologist, I brought my thesis because I have my master's in sociology, are routinely expected to verify licenses, provide educational history, show board certification, or list institutional affiliations. So when a public figure heavily markets expertise, monetizes authority, but becomes evasive about verification, crap done hit the fan. We're going to see that as a red flag because no, Cheyenne Bryant does not owe us every document, but you built your influence partly on your expertise and being credentialed. And now, if we don't think that you have it, we now start looking at some ethics, because why should people lie to us and feel that that's okay? The Argosy controversy for me adds another layer.
It's very simple. I went to a school, Argosy University, completed an entire program. I went back online to get my official transcripts because I was applying to a law school many years ago to be a professor there. And I had to provide my transcripts, right, to get hired. And I went to contact the school and say, hey, I need my official transcripts. I need my entire thing. And there was no school. I was like, okay, I'm confused. I Google. It says this school has been shut down. I said, oh, well, they got to have records. I mean, they were accredited when I attended the school. They were accredited when I finished the program. I go and look, there is a third party that has the records. Where I contact the third party, that third party only holds records for 2 years. I was past my 2 years. So that means that I had no access to records. And then I contacted, financial aid. You can't make up financial aid. It shows that I paid for a doctoral program alongside my master's program and my undergrad program.
I believed her initially when I heard what she said about Argosy and not being able to get her transcripts until I saw this clip.
I received my master's in community counseling from Argosy University in 2014. But in 2022, I needed my transcript in order to submit to the Virginia board so I could begin my supervision. And I was able to easily access that. I have proof. Here's the email that I got in December 2022 with parchment telling me that they sent over my requested document, which was my transcript. And I was curious if I could still access parchment now and still get things. And yes, I can still get a diploma, enrollment verification, and at the bottom, a transcript.
One of these people is lying. How can this lady say she can get her records today and Cheyenne Bryant say she can't get her records, period? That seems awful shady. In our community, we often want to protect our leaders, our influencers, our athletes, people of influence, even our politicians, because of historic exclusion, media stereotyping, scarcity of representation, and fear of public humiliation. But we have to also look at accountability, misinformation, financial exploitation, fake expertise, and unethical conduct. We cannot protect the people who are misleading us. That is a problem as well. This keeps happening, and now because of TikTok, because of YouTube, because of social media, it is happening on a larger scale. So the question becomes, who do we trust in an information age? As I tell everyone, I tell my kids, you have to check what they're saying, check their credentials, do your homework, and ask all the right questions. Just because they make you feel good does not mean they have clinical expertise. If you like this video, please like, share, and follow for more. Peace. That was certainly one to grow on, and I'll see you next time.